something real quick. Because of our condition in America, we think and look at ourselves as if we live next to nothing, pretty much, right? But I'm here to tell you, that's a lie. That's just a condition that we came to because we didn't want to keep the commandments of God. Sis, you an Israelite according to the Bible. You might not know how important that is right now, but you an Israelite. And according to God, that's the only people he care about. Right. You want to know how I know it's true, and you want to know how I can show you it's true? If you have kids, and they doing something, you got kids they outside playing with other kids, right? But you told your kids not to do something, and then you turn around and they doing it. Are you gonna whoop all those kids or just your kids? Exactly. Who getting whooped right now? Who live in the worst conditions today? That show you right there, God only care about us because he whooping us right now to show us we need to be doing something different, right? Let me show you what we need to be doing. Give me that Deuteronomy chapter 11 verse 26. Yes, sir. Because look, God got these people. They called the Israelites. He gave them a contract. He gave them a contractual agreement. He said, look, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do this, this is going to happen. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 26. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse.
So if God came to you right now, right, and say, hey, what's your name again, Angela? He said, hey, Angela, I got for you today a blessing or a curse. Which one you going to choose? You want that blessing, don't you? But he said, okay, you want that blessing. Let me show you how to get that blessing. Read verse 27.
Verse 27. A blessing if ye obey the commandments of the Lord your God.
He said, hey, that's cool. You want the blessing, but look, I'll give you the blessing. But the only thing you got to do, Angela, is keep my commandments. What you going to do? You going to keep them commandments? Let me show you something there, Angela. Since you want to keep those commandments, let me show you something real quick, all right? Give me Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Since you want to keep those commandments, because that's the way we get the blessing, right? God just presented himself and say, Angela, I'm going to give you a blessing or a curse. A blessing if you keep my commandments. You said, I'm going to keep the commandments because I want the blessing. Give me that. Exodus chapter 20.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
He said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Angela, do you know what when the Sabbath is? The Sabbath is today. Keep reading.
6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work.
Monday through Friday, you get to do all your work, right? Keep reading.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
But on the seventh day, what is the seventh day? That's Saturday. Saturday, you can't work, and you gotta remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy, right? So, how do we keep the Sabbath day holy? Today, did you go to the store today? You did? Did you buy anything? See, now you broke the Sabbath. But you didn't know that. You feel me? And that's why God sent you to the prophets to teach you that. So he said you got to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. One way to keep the Sabbath day holy is by not buying or selling. Because that could be a form of work too. By not buying and selling, right?
Right.
So, and then another way to keep the Sabbath is no cooking, right? And no working, right? But another way you have to keep the Sabbath too, to keep it holy. Give me that Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. We have to congregate. You have to get around people that's learning and teaching this Bible, and you have to congregate with them, right? Because remember what you said. From your lips to God's ears, you said, if God came to you right now and say, hey, Angela, I got a blessing and a curse. You said you're going to choose the blessing. And he's like, cool. The stipulation is you got to keep the commandments. So now we got to learn the commandments to learn how to get that blessing, okay? So that's what we're doing right now, right? Read that for me.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin...
Oh, no, 25, my fault.
Verse 25. Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together.
So we cannot forsake the assembling of ourselves together. We have to congregate. That's a law by God. We have to congregate on the Sabbath, right?
Right.
All right. So, well, let me give you another one. Give me Leviticus chapter 11. Do you eat pork? You eat pork? Remember now, I'm going to keep bringing it up. You said if God came to you and say, hey, I got a blessing and a curse, you're going to choose the blessing, right? But the stipulation to get the blessing is what? You got to keep the commandments. Remember that. You got to keep the commandments, right? So read that for me.
The book of Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed.
So the swine, do you know what swine is? Swine is a pig. That's an ancient word for pig, right? He said, and the pig, though he divide the hoof,
and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you.
So the pig is unclean. All right? You probably didn't know that, but the pig is unclean to us, right? Keep reading.
Of their flesh shall ye not eat.
Not just is it unclean, because we'd be like, okay, it's unclean, but the Bible said you can't eat it either. Now remember what you said now. You said if God came to you and gave you an option between a blessing and a curse, that you was going to choose the blessing. How do you get the blessing? You got to keep the commandments, right?
What is a nation?
Nation is men leading by example.